Hello again. For me, buying a home is an adventure, right? You're exploring new areas, meeting new people, having to work with strangers who might not have the best interest at heart, getting into the cut and trust of the art of doing business. And with one simple but by no means easy quest, right? Which is to sign the dotted line and become a new homeowner. So it is important, oh brave adventurer, to arm yourself with knowledge before you go on your quest, right? About who your friends are and who are definitely not your friends. Because if you mix up the two, it can be a very expensive mistake. And personally, I've seen many of these mistakes, and probably the most expensive one I've seen before cost the person probably about 50 grand in total. But I'm sure there are people who've made bigger mistakes. And I'll tell you more about that story later in this video. So here are the different people you'll definitely meet on this journey of buying a home. The first person you meet, that's me from District 34. Second is your mortgage advisor or financial advisor. Third is your lawyer. Fourth is the estate agent and or the property seller themselves, depending on how the viewings go, right? And it should be this order. Don't do it the other way around where you meet the estate agent first, because you'll find out later, right, why that is not a good idea. So there may be others as well, depending on what other services you've signed yourself up for. But these are the main players who pretty much everyone meets in their home buying journey. Let's talk about District 34 first, right? What do we do? And are we on your side, right? Simply put, we're an independent social enterprise aimed at educating first-time buyers with both implicit knowledge, which is stuff that you can't really Google, and it's things you learn only through experience, and explicit knowledge, which is all the data research that we've done, mapping out train stations, mapping out commuting times, mapping out house prices. And we want to give you the benefit of that. You can call us geeks, you can call us nerds, we do so much data, but do not call us agents, because we are a new breed of company that is strictly on the side of the first-time buyer, right, in everything that we do. Next, your mortgage broker or financial advisor, right? These are the people who will tell you how much you can afford based on how much you can borrow from the bank, and etc. etc. They are regulated by the financial authorities, so the FCA, and they have this thing called a duty of care to you, right? So when you appoint them as your mortgage broker or financial advisor, they have a duty of care, and what that means is they have to have your interest at heart, in the sense of they will be recommending you financial products. They have to make sure that it's suitable for your needs, and if it is not, then you have the right to complain and get compensation from them. Does that mean that mortgage brokers are on your side? No, right? Really, the key word here is independent, right? Were they introduced by a friend or a family member, or were they introduced by the estate agent? Because if they're introduced by the estate agent, what it probably means is there's a sort of agreement between the estate agent and the mortgage broker, where maybe they split the fees, or the estate agent has done the mortgage broker a favor, right? What could happen is the mortgage broker could be giving information to the estate agent that you don't want them to give. For example, saying that this is the limit of your affordability, and that estate agent can use that information against you by making you bid up to that price. Is that illegal? No, right? Because it's not. They're still recommending you the right financial products. We'll go through more of these estate agent tricks and to avoid in a later module. But your mortgage broker and your financial advisor should be independent, and they definitely should not be from your estate agent, who has a vested interest to try and get you to pay as much as possible. Next, your lawyer, who's representing you for the purchase, right? Again, just like your financial advisor or your mortgage broker, your lawyer is regulated by the legal authorities this time, and they have a duty of care to you as well as the client. What their job is to protect your interests, right? So making sure all the contracts are proper, making sure there are no surprises in all the legal documents, the planning, the contamination, that there should be nothing about property that you don't know about. Because all you've done is seen a property. You've not seen the planning permission. You've not seen the other legal documents surrounding the property. It is their job to protect you from any nasty surprises. And if the property has something wrong with it that the lawyer didn't pick up, for example, a negative covenant that ends up costing you money, again, they are liable, right? And you can get compensation against them. With lawyers, it's slightly different from mortgage brokers. The main problem that people have with appointing a law firm is, one, legal fees. Because it's so competitive and conveyancing is quite a standard process, they try to win work by giving you a very low headline price and then adding lots of hidden fees on top. So pretty much anything can be a hidden fee, right? Oh, printing, that'll be £200. Oh, doing this letter of authority, that's £50. Oh, a bank transfer, administrative costs, £25, £50, and it all stacks up, right? So making sure you have agreed upfront all the fees of the transaction is important. The next thing is level of service. Some conveyancers are what they call robo-conveyancers. So they industrialize the process, and it's all done as automated as possible. It's very difficult to get hold of any customer service, and they could end up costing you a lot of money in terms of, I've seen many transactions where the buyer's lawyer was so slow or so incompetent that the deal fell through and the landlord or the seller went to someone else, which ends up costing the buyer money, effort, time. But remember, you also have a abortive cost to pay. So you're generally be losing about hundreds to thousands of pounds whenever a property deal that was agreed falls through. Now, let's talk about people who are definitely not on your side, right? The estate agents and the property sellers. Estate agents work for the seller. Their job is to get the highest price possible. And when it's your turn as a homeowner to sell your property, they will be working on your behalf to get the highest price possible for you. Remember, estate agents work on commission, right? Most of their income comes from commission. And that means they are very incentivized to get the highest price possible from whoever is willing to pay them the highest price. They're not your friends. They're not here to make friends. They're here to make commission. And this is a nice segue into the £50,000 story that I was talking about earlier. This was when I was interning as an estate agent. The victim that we're talking about is a young lady, mid to late 20s, who walked in through the door and sat down and started telling one of the junior agents, it wasn't me, but one of the junior agents, about her situation. Her parents had given her a lot of money and she was able to buy a property in cash, right, for about more than £500,000. So one thing you need to know, everyone needs to know about estate agents, especially the senior ones. Estate agents have properties themselves. And when it comes to their own properties, they put probably 10 times more effort selling their own properties than other people's. So this boss of this particular agency had his own portfolio, and he had one property on the market that was about that price range that had been sitting on the market for a long, long time, right? And the reason was because he had overpriced it, and he knew it. So the boss was there. He sees this lady walk in. He hears about her situation, and basically the next thing he does is he snatches the lady away from the junior estate agent, brings her to his office, and does his whole charm offensive, right? Anyway, they end up going on a tour of different properties. The boss makes sure that she sees all the very bad ones. So his one stands out as the shining sort of, this is the best property of all. And when they come back in the Porsche, she's fully sold. She says, I like that property, was definitely the best one. And here's what she says, yeah, almost pretty much word for word, which is, I'm able to afford the full asking price, but please, can you help me get a good deal with this seller? And the boss outright lies that this property was owned by someone else. And he says, I'll try my best, but I can't promise anything. So she makes an offer about 10% less, so about 50 grand less. And yeah, it was a whole song and dance, right? The boss says, oh, thank you for the offer, takes his phone, goes to the back room, and comes back about 2 to 3 minutes later saying, I'm so sorry, I couldn't get the seller to accept. And long story short, the lady ended up paying full asking price for it, not knowing that the person she was speaking to, who she was trusting to get her a deal, was the seller of the property himself. And that, by the way, is totally illegal, right? Estate agents have to declare their personal interest in the property when they're selling it. But, it's an unregulated industry in the UK. And this kind of things happen very often. So top tip, when you go see a property, you should ask outright, does anyone in the agency have a personal interest in this property? And you shouldn't trust them either, right? So whatever the answer is, you should ask your lawyer as well to check with the other lawyer if his client, so the seller, whether their client has a personal, is affiliated with the estate agency. Estate agents are happy to lie because they are not regulated. They are not. There's no code of. There is a code of conduct, but there's no real punishment. Lawyers are a lot less willing to lie because they can be disbarred and they can be, prevented from practicing. So all that said, right, it is still possible to get an estate agent on your side to a very limited extent, but still on your side, right? We'll cover that in more detail in the house hunting module. But I hope you found this session useful, and I'll see you at the next one.